Anymore! Anymore!
Let's go. Sail! Catch the wind!
Good day and welcome to Spartan Entertainment Electronics. I'm your host Ryan. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a Viking? Well, Assassin's Creed Valhalla tries to give you an opportunity to do just that. Is it worth your time? Let's find out now if it's a smash hit or a trash flick. Before we jump into the review, if you are checking out the channel for the first time, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications while you're here. I post new videos weekly, typically on Saturday mornings. Also, if you enjoy this review, please be sure to hit the like button, as it really helps me to understand what you're wanting to see more of. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by parent company Ubisoft. Released on November 10th, 2020, it is the 12th main game and the 22nd Assassin's Creed title to be released. It is currently available on Xbox and PlayStation consoles, with availability on both generations currently on the market, as well as PC. At the time of writing this script, I'm about 30 hours of gameplay in. I keep getting sidetracked by exploration in this massive map, and forget to progress with the story elements. There is a lot of exploring to be done. The England component is approximately 120 square kilometers, roughly 15 kilometers by 8 kilometers. A large portion of that space is ocean, that although you can sail on it, I currently haven't found another purpose to be out on the water. So the practical explorable area is probably closer to 100 square kilometers. Either way, there's a lot of map to adventure out into and find sync points and other fast travel points to make it easier to get around. The environment is absolutely beautiful. I have been playing on PC at 1440p ultra settings, and it is very enjoyable to just stop, look around before jumping down from a sync point. I have viewed it at 1080p as well, and there is a noticeable difference in the visual quality between the two settings. From what I can tell, the game was built for 4K gameplay on console. It's hard to go back to 1080p after 1440 gaming on my PC and 4K gaming on console. I'm amazed with the difference in fidelity between the two upper settings and 1080p. Especially as a few years ago I was very happy gaming at 1080p on my 50-inch plasma. As nice as the environment is, the same cannot be said for the character models. The two main characters look fantastic, but all of the supporting cast, including characters you regularly interact with in your settlement, don't look as refined or cleanly sculpted. It definitely seems like a step backward from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This is disappointing considering how amazing the rest of the game looks. The character models also struggle from some rigging and animation issues. You'll be talking to a non-playable character, and all of a sudden their neck will start doing weird and unnatural things. Extending and shifting off to the side is the most common. The game just doesn't feel as refined in the character models and rigging as previous entries in the series. I assume this will all be patched out at some point in time, but it shouldn't have to be. I think Ubisoft needs to reevaluate their release schedule and cycle to allow more time for these massive open-world games to be refined before release. Ubisoft has enough major properties to allow a 3-year release cycle for entries like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Watch Dogs. Just with those 3 properties, release one a year instead of all 3 in a matter of months. There are other Ubisoft properties that can be factored into that cycle that give the AAA title developers more time to fine-tune. There is no reason more of these small bugs and glitches that myself and others have been experiencing can't be caught with a longer development and testing cycle. It is expected that there will be issues with a game world this massive, but there seems to be more than a typical amount even for a game this big. I've only experienced one major issue on PC, and I'm still not sure what caused it. I was sailing around trying to open up some more of the map, and the game crashed to desktop. I tried to restart the game, my computer completely rebooted. It has only been the one occurrence, and I haven't heard of too many other issues like this. I have seen and heard of fairly regular crashing both on console and PC, however. But nothing this bad. The hard reboot is only happened the once. Console has some lag issues in certain environments and under specific conditions, but it isn't game-breaking by any means. As far as what's going really well with the game, the Hidden Blade is back, as well as True Assassinations with it. It has been a lot of fun playing with that blade again. The gameplay as a whole has been really enjoyable. The combat is a little hit and miss. One sequence will be buttery smooth and the next is cumbersome and just doesn't feel great. On the flip side, it is pretty awesome that you can pet the dogs in the game. I have been really enjoying that. But even that animation has glitches. As far as the game mechanics, the abilities I have unlocked are fun when I remember to use them. There doesn't seem to be a ton of need for them throughout the combat, however. I imagine this will change as I get further in and to much higher level boss fights, but for now they are there, but I tend to forget about them. The other mechanic that is difficult to find use for is the Raven Sight. The game forces you to use it at time to find objectives, but other than that there isn't much use for it. Unlike Odyssey, it doesn't tag enemies or loot locations. This may be unlockable further in, but I haven't had an opportunity to find that out as of yet. For the time being, it's more of a nuisance and less useful. Odin Sight, on the other hand, is much more useful, and I'm hoping to find an upgrade for that at some point that will allow a much larger radius with that ability. One major change to this game over previous entries in the Assassin's Creed franchise is the looting. There is no generally lootable weapons or armor. They are all found at predetermined points or purchased through shops. What you find while exploring is the materials to upgrade the weapons and armor you have acquired. It seems to me to be an intuitive and smoothly flowing system, and I have been enjoying it. There are, however, limitations to the upgrading you can do at any point. To find Material X, you have to have surpassed a certain prescripted milestone, and you can't acquire it before that point. The only other thing I think I am needing to comment on is the ambiance and the mood of the game. There is not a noticeable amount of background or exploration music, which is missed. The game is too quiet for me. Wind and horse hooves are noticeable. Other than that, the only major source of audio is when you are sailing and in combat. The combat music is great, and I have really been... The sailing tunes and story are where it really shines, though. These are some of the best songs, and the stories are fun and entertaining. The sea shanties do get repetitive after several hours of sailing around, and I'm sure the stories will get there as well before too long.
Let's have a song. Save it for later.
Right for plunder.
In regards to the main story of the game, well, 40 hours in and it's okay. It seems to be broken down into smaller chunks based on your allegiance map and mini-stories for each region you aim to align with. There are also alternate timelines to work through, as well as the Order of the Ancients questline. The Order timeline has you seeking out information and then defeating in battle or assassinating specific characters. It is very similar to the Order of the First Blade from Odyssey, but included in the base game instead of as DLC. I am assuming there will be a larger story tying back to Norway at some point, but I think I won't make it to that until about 100 hours of gameplay at the pace I'm currently going. The smaller plots are fine, and there's a sense of accomplishment with each region you have aligned with your settlement, so I have been appreciating that. The mystery side missions have more variety than there was in Odyssey. Each world event is its own mini-story, and they are short but fun. They are somewhat repetitive, but at the same time diverse enough to stay interesting. The mini-bosses included through the Order of the Ancients, as well as legendary beasts once you unlock that content in your settlement, also helps to offer nice building blocks to your fighting skills, as well as generate different combat challenges, as the zealots from the Order and the other mini-bosses you come across all have different attack styles, and often cannot be approached in a manner similar to previous ones. There are also a couple of mini-games: Orlog, a dice game, Flighting, a game of word and wit, and the drinking game. They are fun and a nice change of pace from exploring and combat. I got bored with the drinking minigame after the third or fourth time. I have really been enjoying the Orlog matches, however. It is a simple but complex enough game to get the hang of and have a couple of tight matches and wins. So far, I haven't lost an Orlog match. The fighting is okay, and there is an incentive to do it as it increases your charisma, which generates additional dialogue options at higher levels. Fighting is all about rhyming, cadence, and a theme within the dialogue. I will keep playing Orlog and fighting, but I think I may be done with the drinking game. It is a quick way to make a few bucks, but serves no useful purpose. Orlog, on the other hand, like Gwent from The Witcher 3, could potentially have its own spin-off game, and I for one would play it. One other major component of the game that is worth investing time and resources into is building up your settlement. Some buildings have only cosmetic purposes, like the tattoo shop, which allows you to change your appearance once you build it. Other buildings, like the fishing hut for example, open up new opportunities like fishing, which is required for some world events. Another important building is the stables, which allows you to use in-game currency to purchase alternative looks for both your steed and raven, but it also offers training for your horse that are practical and extremely useful upgrades, like the ability to swim across bodies of water. By developing your settlement, you increase your level, which not only upgrades your options for what you were able to build, it also increases your reputation in the world and attracts more and unique people to your settlement. It generates new opportunities like fishing legendary beasts and recruiting other players' characters to your roster, and most substantially, it opens up new timelines to play through. At the end of the day, I have been thoroughly enjoying Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I intend to keep playing it as I am enjoying how robust the world and RPG elements are. I want to keep seeing the countryside, as well as seeing how the story evolves as you get more clout and allies in England. It needs some work fixing bugs and glitches that could have been caught with a slightly longer development cycle, and I would appreciate more ambiance via background and exploration music. The vistas are beautiful, and the gameplay more often than not is fluid and coherent. Some of the additional information coming from the Codex logs is interesting and worth a read. Assassin's Creed Valhalla for me is a smash hit and worth the 100+ hours time commitment it is looking like it will be. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It will get a bump to 8 once they work out some of the bugs. If you enjoyed this review and want to see more content like this on the channel, hit the thumbs up button so I know. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the new content that I'm working on between gaming sessions in Valhalla. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.